And we're going to the movies with a local who has made it great in L.A., who is here in Bedford now to tell us all about a special project that Dwayne Ramos is working on. First of all, great to see you. You look absolutely fabulous.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about, first of all, growing up in New Bedford and then heading out west.
Well, I was 12 years old and living in a village, and that's when it hit me to do what I needed to do as far as being an artist. And that's the day that my grandfather died, and the day I decided to jump into the music business.
Wow. And this was how long ago?
30 years ago.
Wow! You look like you're 30 now.
I'm 43 in the game. Yeah.
And so you worked hard. You went out to Los Angeles, right?
Yes.
Did it come easy out there?
No.
Right.
It was being in Los Angeles. You know, the main thing about being in a different climate is you have to learn how to adapt, adjust, and overcome. And it took me a minute to get acclimated because I was in unfamiliar territory. But what I have to say is let me explain how I even got there.
Yeah.
I got a phone call from Russell Ramus. Russell Ramus is a substitute teacher, always was on the radio, and personality.
Sure.
Great friend, and he had offered me a one-way ticket to LA.
Isn't that interesting?
And it was one way, and he said, "Don't worry, I'll work on getting you back." So, at that moment, the hardest thing for me was going to be able to. How do I tell my mom?
How old were you?
At that time, I was. I want to say like 19, 20.
Sure.
You know, how do you tell your mom like you on a plane, you leaving, and then when she asks you when you're coming back, you're like.
I don't know.
You know, and at that time I had, you know, I was working with a lot of people, you know, wanting to build this name, this brand that I have, you know, which was at the time was just The Rock. So when Russell hit me up and said, I got a one-way ticket, he said, "Are you in?" I said, "What?"
Yes.
I said, "LA." He says, "When you go to LA," he says, "you never know what God has in store for you. I just want you to go there with an open mind and just let it flow." So, to make a long story short, I got on the plane. It was American Airlines. And the crazy thing about American Airlines, when I was 4 years old, I took the trip to Los Angeles with my grandmother. And when I got to we were sitting in the emergency section, and the pilot came over to me and was like, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "I'm going to be famous." At 4 years old, I told the pilot this. I said, "I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be a movie star." I said, "I'm going to be a movie star," right? So he handed me the wings, you know, the little wings that they put on your collar.
Yeah.
So he handed me those wings. So the fact that I went there when I was 4 years old, already had a vision of going to being in Los Angeles and being a movie star.
Yep.
The word star was the word.
It was part of your destiny.
It was part of my destiny. And then my mom handed me the wings that I had when I was 4 years old, just recently.
Gosh. Oh,
so I got those.
Gosh. Wow.
I got those wings on my desk.
Absolutely.
So I look at that as a reflection. Like, this was a vision since 4 years old of going to the West Coast and becoming a star. So when Russell mentioned that ticket, all I could think about is being there with my grandmother, you know, God rest her soul. Amen. And she gave me that opportunity to go out there and actually get a taste of the climate. So I was in unfamiliar territory, but at the same time it was somewhat familiar.
Oh my
So
gosh.
when I got there, Russell had introduced me to a lady named Margaret, which potentially ended up being a relationship, and then all of a sudden I have a son. So now I got a 21-year-old son. And being in LA was challenging because, you know, it's all about who's who. And when I try to find people who was like on, you know, doing the style of rapping that I was doing,
right,
they weren't on it. So I had to create my own sound.
Sure.
And I had to make my own music. And I hooked up with Stephen Brown. And but at the end of the day, it all goes back to the homework of being in New Bedford. Working with Mo Burgo, Eli Barrett, Richard Hanna, Amelia Moore and Kevin Moore. Like, they seasoned my foundation to be able to, in Anthony Center, and to actually go to travel around the world with this strong foundation of having talent. And Tyrone Barrett and all these rappers that I used to, it's amazing that I can actually come back here and feel at home and feel the vibration. And I never knew how big I was doing it, honestly, until I actually stopped and Googled myself. When I Googled myself, that's when I realized, wow, I really made it. Because when you're working, it's a job. So you're not really paying attention to all the milestones, but they all add up to success. And no matter where you are, you got to get it, and you got to go for it. And Hobby View Towers was the breaking point, the vibration for me to like take that first step and just go and make something happen.
What a great story. We're going to tell you about a special video that's going to be shot over the weekend, but before we do, you're also known as...
Dwayne The Rock.
Dwayne The Rock.
Can I tell you something though? The Rock was the freestyle rapper that was here in New Bedford. But when I got to LA, and I have to say this, I was in the elevator. And you know, in the elevator it's always quiet. So I just happened to say, how's everybody doing today? And this guy says, man, you have a lot of energy. What's your name? I said, my name is The Rock. He said, what's your real name? I said, Dwayne. He was like, I'm calling you Dwayne The Rock. But I have a reggaeton label, and I want to know if you could do some work with me. So I told him I was a producer. So I ended up producing Don Omar, Wisin Yandel, and they were 15 weeks #1 in the Latin charts. And I was able to attach myself to this level of success, first time jumping in the Latin world. And so what happened is they did not want to call me The Rock. They wanted to call me Dwayne The Rock Ramos. So I had to keep that name and brand that name because I had a lot of success with that name, Dwayne The Rock. So then here comes the wrestler.
I know it.
Here comes, and my mother's like, wait a minute, there's a movie called Walking Tall. Is that your movie? I was like, no, it's not my movie.
How funny is that?
But the thing is, Dwayne The Rock is, not everybody knows me in the New Bedford area as Dwayne The Rock. They know me as The Rock.
Yeah.
And so I branded myself as a producer with the Dwayne The Rock, working with Nicki Minaj, Pitbull, a lot of major artists that are out there.
You are awesome.
And God is good. My journey is it's 90% mental, 10% physical.
Amen to that.
So back to the story about why I'm here. I'm here to work with my sister Trina had introduced me to Samantha Johnson.
Yes.
And once she connected me with her, I was conversing back and forth with her on Skype. And she was like, hey, at some point we're going to do some things. And all of a sudden I look on television, she's on America's Got Talent. It's like slamming these rounds. And she's just, her spirit, her energy is just on a whole nother level.
Over the top, yes.
Way over the top. Like, she has an old soul. So when I started conversing with her, I said, you know what, I'm going to hit you up when I come to New Bedford. And then we went to my friend Macho's studio, and we recorded the Love Come Down, Evelyn Champagne King remake.
And you're going to do the music video using the soundtrack.
We actually remade it.
Yeah.
I made it 2017 feel.
A little rap,
a little hip hop,
love it.
So, and we shooting a video at the Carousel in Fairhaven.
When?
The 27th.
Okay.
It's directed by Damon Numandin. Corey Shestek is the actual cameraman, and the lighting by Jason Mello. And I just have to say, like, this, and Celestial Houtman is doing the makeup. I have to give my people props, because at the end of the day, the biggest flack that people give me is, when are you going to come back home, and when are you going to put people on and help people here? Well, the reality is you have to help yourself and attract that energy to and invite help to come to you. And if people won't come to you and help you if they don't see that you have the drive for yourself. Yeah. So all I know is I had key people in my life as I was grinding, and it just fine-tuned who I am.
We have about a minute and a half. Time flies.
Man, this was great.
It was. Now, can folks listening come and see it being shot?
I would love for all ages. I would love for everybody to come. It's from 7 to 11.
Okay.
It's at the Carousel Skating Rink.
On the 27th.
On the 27th, which is this Saturday.
Okay.
And we're going to be filming this. We're taking it that 80s disco vibe.
Oh,
You
beautiful.
know, so I would like for you to be there with your roller skates on. I want to see
man.
you doing a couple of spins.
I'd need one of those walkers, you know?
No.
I'd be holding on to one of those walkers. Oh my God, Twain, that's so exciting.
Shout out to Karen Ramus.
Oh yes, Kenny Ramus.
Kenny Ramus and Karen Ramus. You know Kenny Ramus.
I do. I love Kenny.
I love the Ramus family.
And his mom and his late dad, I love them all. Absolutely. Relation at all? Or?
Yes, we're related by the spirit, related by the
Oh,
blood. It's
I
all
love
family.
that. You know, talk about the spirit. You have such a blessed spirit. You were talking about, Samantha, having an old soul. You have a beautiful soul. There's something very, very genuine and
Thank you.
authentic about you. You're blessed, and I hope those blessings continue to nurture and to fortify you in the future. Let me give you the last word here. Dwayne DeRock.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DUANE, DAROCK. I just want to say, please, everybody out there, if you have goals, ambitions, dreams, things that you want to accomplish in life, start it from the spiritual space first. Give yourself the credit, give God all the glory, and don't look back. And speaking of don't look back,
Yes.
you can also go on iTunes and have a song called Ain't Looking Back. That was the score for the Kevin Hart movie, Let Me Explain.
Oh my gosh, there's so much going on in your
Oh
life.
man, we need about 3 hours to talk about the journey. Because when I say I work with the greats, I really was blessed to
Yes.
work with a lot of amazing, great artists to actually help take myself to the next level. So now I got an album called The Frequency, and this album right here is a lane of Pitbull and Flow Rider.
Yep.
And it's real party, you know, great music. You know, shout out to Denny Soares.
We got to hold it there. Folks, why don't you come out and support what's going on Saturday night at Carousel? You will love it. And maybe you can give our superstar from LA a huge, blessed hug.
This was for New Bedford. I did this for the whole New England area.
That is awesome,
You
Dwayne.
know, I got to pay back.
Dwayne DeRock, ladies and gentlemen. As for all of us, thank you so very much. We're going to say goodbye to Dan. And all of you listening, thank you very much for tuning in. Until tomorrow, God
Shout out
willing.
to Carl Pius.
Carl, absolutely,
Yes,
Carl.
Carl Pius made this happen.
It's 10 o'clock.